It was on April 14th. I left, me and his sister, to go to the nail shop, and we left, and it was about 10:36 a.m. and he sat right here, and he was wiping his shoes, and I told him I would be back to pick him up, and he said, "Okay, love you. I'll see you when you get back." Well, we called about noon Saturday, and he didn't answer his phone, which wasn't rare because if he doesn't have Wi-Fi, he won't. His phone wouldn't work. So I just figured he left, and would be back. And called and called all day Saturday evening, all the way till Sunday morning. Because Alize, he kept his sister during the week, so he would, even if he left for Saturday and Sunday, he's gonna come back Sunday, because he knows I work during the week. And Sunday of the April 15th, probably about 11:30, it was a knock at the door, so I answered it. It was two police officers, and they had a computer tablet, and they turned it around, and I said, "Can I help you?" And they said, "Do you know this person?" And I said, "Yes, that's my son." And he said, "Well, ma'am, when was the last time you saw him?" And I told him Saturday, and they asked what he had on and his height and his weight. And I said, "Why? Is something wrong?" And he said, "Well, we're just looking for them for questioning, looking for him." And I said, "Well, what happened?" And he said, "We don't know yet. It's still under investigation, but we think your son may be in harm." And I said, "Okay." And they gave me two cards with Sergeant Robinson's name on it, and another sergeant, I can't think of his name. And so they said to call the numbers if I had any questions regarding the investigation. And so they left. Well, about 6:30, we watched the news, and that's when they had my son's picture on there on the news. I called that sergeant, and the Moore Police Department told me that he was in church and he probably wouldn't get back to me till Monday.
So you found out from the news?
Yes, from the news. And so that's where I saw that it was that Alize had been with the previous Jarron from Saturday. Because Saturday I did glimpse at the news, and I saw Jarron's mother on there saying her son, but they never said my son's name. They said Jarron and a friend. So I never thought, oh, well, that's Alize too. No, they didn't get to do that until Sunday when I gave them the information. They didn't know his name, birth date, anything. So before the news though, I called his dad and I told him, and so he didn't think nothing of it either. We just figured he's gonna call me, or he'll be back to the house. Well, that didn't happen. Everything that has happened from April 14th to now, we found out on the news. When they pulled them out of that pond on April 18th, the detectives came an hour later after the news aired it. So everything we found out, it's been from the TV.
Were you able to go to the location?
No.
It happened so fast.
His family was, but we didn't. We didn't get notified.
12
nothing.
o'clock news came on, and that's where we saw it then.
From the news.
And then at 1:30, two detectives came, and they told us they had pulled them out of the pond. And I said, "How do you know it was my son?" And he said, "Because he looks just like the picture." And I said, "Okay." And he said that they were sending, the medical examiner was picking them up, and that it had to be some identification, whatever the process is with that. But we didn't find out anything. We didn't find out any charges for the suspects, but from the TV, from the news. I don't even know. Those 4 days from the 14th to the 18th were probably, it seemed like 4 years.
Yeah.
And I never forget, I was on the phone with him when the news came on. That's when I found out. And I don't even know how to feel,
We was hoping to find him a different way, but.
And I did pray, I prayed because I got faith and I believe in God. And I said, "Lord, please bring me my son, whether good or bad." We couldn't be parents and family that, when kids go missing for months and years. I probably wouldn't have made it. He was very Let's see. He thought he was a comedian all the time. You know, he was very outgoing. What do you think, Nathan?
Yeah, he was funny.
This is his road dog.
One of the
These
funniest guys
two.
I knew.
One of the funniest people I know.
Great personality.
Even if he thought something, but if you didn't think it was funny, he thought it was funny, so it was funny.
He did too.
You know, he was very smart. He graduated high school. He loved basketball. He liked to play basketball. He liked to watch his brother play basketball. He was really a family person. He liked family. Who's his favorite player, Nathan?
He liked it, Jordan.
He's a Jordan fan.
Yep, and he listened to all types of music, whether it's old school or new school. And you would have thought he was born in the 70s. You know,
Really?
he thought, yeah, because
Got an old
sometimes.
soul.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
He
Love
did.
Prince.
Did
And
he?
And Morris Day.
yeah,
Yes.
and can't sing a lick, but he was sure try it, you know. And he have a feeling someday he might wear his afro, then someday he might be new school, curl it up.
Mm-hmm.
But he was really a good person.
Just a bright kid.
He
all
was.
around.
He was. He just didn't know. He wanted to do so much. He didn't know what he wanted to do. You know, one minute he wanted to start his own lawn service with his dad. One minute he wanted to play basketball. One minute he wanted to go to college. You know, he was just trying to figure out
Yeah.
what it was he wanted to do. Even if Alize was, now I can't speak on Jarron. I let his family do that. But even if he was selling a gun, it wasn't illegal. My son was not a felon,
Mm-mm.
and he was 21.
Mm-hmm.
And from the newspapers, it says that the suspects heard a gun rack. That doesn't give you a reason to murder nobody, because if you're making a gun sale or transaction, the person buying or receiving wants to make sure that it works properly.
I don't even think that was that was just a hick story though.
It was.
That
It
wasn't
had to
that
be.
wasn't the real story. That was those white guys' story.
It was. It was.
That wasn't Alize's or Jarron's story. Or
But I want to make it
Yeah.
clear, if it was, and I say if,
mm-hmm.
Alize wasn't doing it. He wasn't a felon. So it wasn't like he couldn't, if Alize wanted to, he could go buy his own firearm. It wouldn't have been against the law. He wasn't a felon.
Simple as that.
Now, I will say, you know, he had minor tickets, speeding or whatever, but he wasn't a felon. So that's not against the law. I want to make that clear. And we as a family, we want to get down to the bottom of the Craigslist thing, because if it was a Craigslist deal, where's the proof?
If it was.
Where's the post?
Where is it?
So you guys have never seen the post?
No.
Nope.
Have you seen any evidence?
Nope.
No.
No.
Nope.
And I asked the detectives, I said, did you have fingerprints with Alize on any kind of weapon? They said it's still under investigation. They won't answer. Now, when I talked to News Channel 9, she's the one that gave me the DA's name and told me the number. Well, I called, like she said, he wouldn't return any calls. No, not until just recently, Thursday, after we met with the NAACP that Friday, they called. And the secretary said he wanted to meet with us on the 21st, a day before the court date of those suspects, which is the 22nd.
Man, I'll tell you what, just number one, by the grace of God. Number one, by the grace of God.
That's the truth.
You know what I'm saying? Because that first week,
It's life shattering.
that was the worst week of my life. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a hard man. It'd take a lot to just break me like that. I didn't even really want to cry till after 2 days, but after that, I know he was gone. It was taking too long. So, you know, we just gotta stay holding up, and you know, we got other little ones. We got Livy, and I got another little 5-year-old, little Caden. Alize has another brother. He's not here right now. He's in school. But, you know, his mom, you know, the women had it pretty hard at that funeral and before that. So we just holding up, and I want justice for my son, for my boy.
Tell me what this justice look like for you guys.
You know, I'm pressing for the death penalty.
Absolutely.
Straight up. You know,
Absolutely.
let it be known. If it was a black boy who would have did this to a pit bull in this Oklahoma City, they would be wanting to kill him for what he did to a dog. They did my son like a dog and threw him in that lake out there. You know what I mean?
And dismembered
The
him.
same way they did Emmett Till and the other James Chaney and them other three they found in that station wagon, they pulled them out of water with cinder blocks the same way. Now, why these people ain't getting charged? Why the FBI ain't stepping in on this? How they stepped in on the civil rights in '66? It's 2018. This is still happening. It happened in Oklahoma City, right here to my son and another dude. They found him in a lake, you know, dismembered, bodies, you know, unthinkable. So, you know, we just want justice, man.
We do.
We want justice. My son wrongfully died. He was robbed of his life. He wasn't nothing but a baby. You know. She was the mastermind after murder.
And they are keeping her hidden.
She was the mastermind after murder.
Mm-hmm.
They called her and they panicked and they called her. She said, bring them here. And after that, she helped with the bodies. She helped wipe them off.
She burnt their clothes.
She burnt their clothes.
Cleaned the van.
She assisted. She was the mastermind after murder.
Clean the tools they use.
She cleaned the tools.
She had them
Cleaned it.
soaked.
She helped them on all that.
Bleach water.
Did she
The-
clean the van too?
Yeah.
Yeah,
van.
she cleaned the van too.
But the detective said that when they arrived, there was the van. It had looked like it was she had wiped it down, and there was blood splatter still
Against
on
the
the ceiling. And there was a power wash and a bucket of bleach water with a jigsaw,
She was
pliers,
still cleaning.
Chainsaw
still in
bar.
there soaking in the water.
And a wet dry vac.
How could you help? How could you help orchestrate after you knew the kids were dead? How could you help, even though this is your son? How could you put your mind and your heart to help somebody with dead bodies and dismembering and cleaning them up? You have to be a sick individual.
You'd be so comfortable.
And how could you be so comfortable? You couldn't be with God. You'd have to be an evil person to the mother and that other older gentleman to instruct them younger kids, because they didn't have that kind of mind up here. That 16-year-old and his brother, no, they wasn't that sharp up here.
This is the deal. We are not racist, okay? I have some Caucasian friends that are they would lay their life down for me, okay? So by no means are we racist.
At all.
But
I had
this
whites
just
in
so
my
happened
family.
to be.
He had Alize has white in him. So
But this just so happens to be committed by white people who are racist.
Mm-hmm.
And I will tell any and everybody, if the shoe fit, wear it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
People don't want to say race didn't play a part, but it did in this case.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean we're racist and we just hate all white people, because there's black people who are racist. I said that it was a hate crime, and that's what I mean. It doesn't matter if it was two African American people or four that did this to our son. I would still say it's a hate crime. Hate doesn't have a color,
No.
and it doesn't have a face.
No.
It's hate. But it just so happened when we researched all four of those individuals, they have Confederate flags. They have redneck dad on one. So it shows that they
They're
have
saying-
animals
saying
with the
the
heads
N-word
cut
on
off
the
with blood
Facebook.
dripping off. They're saying the N-word. So they're racist.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean we're saying all white people are racist. No.
No.
But these particular people who committed this murder, both
Confederate
flags, it
flag.
says redneck dad. They have previous conversations. The 22-year-old where he's using the N-word.
Mm-hmm.
They have pictures of animals with the heads cut off, with blood running down their hands, with a Confederate flag waving in the back. One of them has a tattoo on his stomach with a burning cross that says "Reborn." I mean, the proof is there.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody doesn't want to say race is not a factor in this when it concerns Alize and Jarron, it is.
And the hate crime, both.
Yes.
What do you guys want the FBI to do?
help us.
We want them to search that property, and we want them to drain those ponds both, because it might be some other things or people there, and we don't want I'm telling you,
This
we
might
don't
not
want
be the first time they
anybody
done got away with this.
to have to go through this.
The
Anybody.
way when the police rolled up that they had stuff just set out laid around that property, like it was okay.
Yeah.
Like it was, they wasn't.
And there's people still living on the property.
Like
right?
it was okay. Yes.
It's not yellow tape.
They have
up.
different families
Say
on
it
their
again,
property.
baby. Said it's people
It's
still.
people still there right now.
Other-
right now today.
They live on
still
that
living.
property.
Yes.
Their
Coming
family.
and going as they please.
Yes, in their family.
Yes.
This is not just a
So-
little lot or neighborhood. These are acres, and they
Acres.
have different mobile homes
So
on there.
that's why we
It
want the
needs to be combed
FBI
off.
involved.
Fine tooth comb.
Don't nobody need to be living on that property,
No.
and my son ain't got
Who
pulled
knows?
out
They
of
might
a
find
lake.
other people.
Come on, man.
They still have people
Yes.
on, not where the house is.
No.
right? But on the property surrounding
On
the
that-
house.
That's
Yes.
correct.
And that hasn't been quarantined. or anything.
Hasn't been quarantined or anything.
No,
Seem
they
like
still
This
live.
lady's back out of jail, whatever.
She's back at
She could have been out there moving stuff through the night. Who knows?
or even right now.
Who knows?
So the mother has bonded.
Yes.
She's
She never sat in jail.
But
She did a walkthrough.
She did a walkthrough with a bond and
And-
stuff.
On the statements, it says when it came to the part of cleaning the van, her lawyer immediately said, my client will not be answering any questions regarding that. And it ended. The interview ended. Her bond was $3 million. She's out. And she has an attorney. And also the other suspects have an attorney.
You said her bond was $3 million.
Mm-hmm.
What did they get? What did they get? $300,000.
Right.
would love to.
Right.
I
Yeah, where did they
just
get
don't know.
$300,000 from? I'm just curious.
I
I'm
don't know.
curious.
Great
too.
question.
I don't know.
I'm curious.
And
too.
how come she's the only one out?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not the mother's property, it's the boyfriend's.
The boyfriend's family. Mm-hmm.
The mother is just her and her two sons.
So it makes you
The
think.
boyfriend, his parents owned the property, and the boyfriend. So how come they just did that with the mother? What does she have to hide? And how come they haven't exposed her picture on TV? We just met them Thursday. We don't have a good or bad. We just met them. They're
You didn't
they're
know.
victims just like we are.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You share an uncommon bond. Right?
That's correct. And we just, we have talked with the other family. We just want justice, and we want it the right way.
Yep.
And we want everyone across the world to be aware of what's going on.
Yes.
Right.
This is not just a kid that was just lost in and out. No, this is my son, my
And
only
I
son.
don't want them to just
just love
try to sweep this under the rug
No,
to cover Oklahoma up. No.
no more.
No. No.
No
Not
more. But we just
allowing
kind of
nobody-
we just been trying to keep each other, you
Yeah.
know, especially these siblings,
Yeah.
you know.
And as far as
And,
family, her moms, everybody, we were kind of keeping it inner circle.
Just
You
lean
know?
And we
on
just
each
trying to
other.
wait.
Friends call and every
They do.
that's all the love. They giving them love for
Yes,
real.
he was
But
very popular.
we, you know, this
Loved by
is a strong situation.
It is. I want the community to stand with us for justice for Alize and for Jarron, and I want the community to show us as African Americans, show that we have rights and we have beliefs, and we want to be heard. We want to be heard, not violently. No, we just want justice as it would be given to any other citizen if they had to endure what we have. Those suspects took away a lot of things from us.
Yeah.
Okay, they took away, first of all, the life of my only son, only one I have. They took away for us his dad being able to bury him properly.
Yeah.
We had to have closed casket. All the little hope we had left was, okay, at least we'll get to bury him
They
properly.
found him.
They took that away.
I went and bought him a $400 suit. Didn't even know I couldn't put it on him.
They
Take
took
it
it
all
away.
back.
You know, I had to take it back.
And yes, we did. We talked, and we knew it wasn't gonna be good because anything that's in water it damages.
Yeah.
That's whether it's a house, a
Yeah.
plant.
Mm-hmm.
We knew that, but when they unzipped that bag, we did not have a clue. That's how I saw my son last, dismembered. We didn't have a clue, and they took a lot of things from us that did not have to be taken. If they were scared, how come you didn't leave them at Crest parking lot? Or how come you didn't call the police? It's a grocery store. It's 6 in the evening. There's people shopping. How come you guys didn't call the police?
Or if you were scared, you shoot somebody, you panic, you gonna run. You're not gonna try to grab their bodies
And take 'em
throw their
with you.
bodies in the van.
Scared went out
You're
the
gonna
door.
leave them there dead.
Mm-hmm.
Come
Scared
on now.
was never there.
It wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I want everybody to know also, I don't think this is the first time they did this.
No.
I don't. And I want those ponds
He
drained.
showed up at 6:15. He was pronounced dead at 6:16. It wasn't even 1 minute.
Yes.
They showed up to the crest at 6:15. He was pronounced dead at 6:16.
Now, also, when the detective came, he said that, I said, how did you find where they were? He said that it was very difficult. He said, ma'am, we would have never found them if we would not have called the 16-year-old who they had in custody. He had to lead them through there on the phone to get down through where the pond was. And the detective said the pond just came so quick. I mean, they just almost ran into it.
If they wouldn't have had them phones,
They
they
couldn't
would
find
still
it.
be in that water right now.
And
They
so
would
another
still
thing
be
I
out
want you to
there.
know, in the statements, they asked the 16-year-old, how come you guys ran when we pulled up on the property? Because the 16-year-old and 22-year-old, they took off running 1.5 miles. They had to catch them. Now let's pause. If there were 2 African Americans, they'd have shot them dead.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been no 1.5 miles
Yeah.
chase. Okay,
Yeah.
first of all. Second of all, when they did catch up with him, they asked him, why did you guys run? He said, because we knew we had did something wrong. Okay? Now, I want to also tell you that also, if it was 2 African Americans, they'd be both charged with 1st and 2nd degree murder.
Yeah.
Both of the 16-year-old and his brother, the 22-year-old, were in the same van together, but one has 1st and 2nd degree. The 16-year-old and the other just has accessory. That's not adding up. That is not
Charges aren't
adding
meeting
up.
the crime.
Shitty charges.
It's not adding up.
Charges are not meeting the crime.
And guess what? Alize, he won't walk through this store. He lives here every day. I won't see him anymore.
Do you feel his spirit? A lot of people
I
will
do.
ask that. you
We
know.
all do. We have so many memories of that boy.
Man, I'm telling you.
I mean, it don't matter what it is. His room is here, you know, and it's just tough. It's tough, you know. It's tough that only 4 weeks that have went by. Today is the 30th day, the 14th, and it's really amazing that it's just like it's unreal. Really, it's just unreal. So.
Yeah.
How do we go on? I don't know. We're just figuring it out.
One day at a
Really.
time.